But yeah, thank you for joining the stream. And I think I'm just gonna hop right into. But first, I need to change this. There we go. And here we go. Let me know if the audio is quiet or anything, and I will try to fix that on the stream. Again, the stream seems to be very behind where I'm at, which is not ideal. But I will work with what I got here. Okay, so today I thought I would do something simple and kind of talk about coming up with prototype cards. The standard size for cards is 2.5 by 3.5 inches. That's kind of your magic standard card size. I have this open up in InDesign. I'll go ahead and create this file and then bring InDesign back over like so. Right, here we go. Here is InDesign. So basically, I'm going to be creating a card that will be kind of a basic card. So the kind of thing you want to do first is you want to go to your parent cards up here, and this is where this is kind of the template for all your cards. Because so anything you draw on here, say I draw a big black square like this, and I fill it with black. All the cards that copy this parent will have it. That as the background. See, there it is on the one. One is copying A. A is 2 pages for some reason. Let's see here. Oh, I bet I know why. Let's go here to document setup, presets, setup. Okay. I don't want facing pages. Boom. So now this is just this. So then if I duplicate this, yeah, cool. And now I'll have the same parent. So I don't have to worry about that. So now cards, I like to have kind of like a black border around my playtest cards. This kind of gives me a thing to basically cut and trim out my cards. This right now is solid, so let's get rid of the solid bit. Boom. Let's make it just a thick border here. And let's make it fit the card. So the way I made the round edges is that when you have a square like this, if you're not used to the program, this is a little yellow dot here you can click on, and that changes the curve. Let's see here. Oh, audio needs to be a bit higher. Well, that's kind of hard because I have it on the highest it can be. So let's go ahead and just see if I can get the mic closer, and see if that helps. Here we go. There is kind of a basic black outline for a card. Now if I click on my cards down here, you'll see that they each have this now border. One thing that's kind of important to do as well is as you add these kinds of things, as you add these things, you're going to want to toss them into layers. So let's go ahead and call this layer something else. Let's call, because it has my rectangle in it, let's call this backgrounds. So a quick background layer, and then that means we're going to want other layers. So let's grab some other layers here. Let's call this card frame. It's card image frame, and then here, let's call this card image. Perfect. Okay, so we can have different layers doing different things. Now, if I wanted to have a layer that was for cards, I could copy this. Oops, nope, copy it. There we go. And sorry, not for cards, for an image, simple image thing. I'm just going to kind of do a simple, this is going to be kind of a simple playtest card. So this is going to have kind of your zones that you're going to want for your card. in a way that's kind of printer friendly, because you could be printing these out probably either on your home printer or you can get them printed somewhere else, and yeah, this saves you on ink and stuff. So like here's your basic image frame here. Here's like a text frame here. Um, so let's put the image frame up here with the image frame. The reason I'm putting that up there is that it means that if we put an image in between those layers, then the border will show up and do that stuff. So like if I do that and then put an image there into this section here, so let's go ahead and open an image. I'll grab some. One of my latest projects was Doctor Who Nemesis, and this. Why didn't you not go there? I have some leftover images from that project, so I'm going to go ahead and grab them. Okay, I did not hit the right button. Let's put place. That's the one I want. Let's go back here. Boom, boom. There we go. So we have some just random Doctor Who images from that project that either didn't get used or weren't right for it or whatever. And they're in this generic image file. Some of them might have been used. Like I see some of them used. So let's go ahead and grab, let's say, this image here, and we put it here, and see my border is now on top of that image. So if I shrink this image down, like so, and I make it smaller, the border will show up on top. Of course, you see the rest of the card stuff here. So what I have to do now is create kind of a background that will cover this. So let's grab this. C, Control V. Let's fill this with white, like so. And let's put that here. Like so. And like that. And like this. So these will be kind of like your card title can go up here. Your types and stuff can go down here, and it will cover up the excess bits of the image quite nicely. In fact, let's just go like this and have this pop up. Oh, we'll need a new layer for this. Let's call this card title and keyword boxes. Now with these, I can now toss up here. Boom, come up. That's not right. So you just kind of grab and click them and put them up. Normally, oh, it's because I'm not going to the right thing. So let's see here. So I want this here to go. No, not that one. This rectangle to go here, and this rectangle right here to go here, and I want this whole thing to be above that. There we go. Now these don't necessarily have to be precisely like this. You can change them up. Let's go ahead and make this one a little bit different. Let's grab this and cut out that. Let's make it smaller here. Boom. And so this is just a basic kind of concept. So there's like your card title. Your image now can be shrunk to fit the size that you need it to fit, or you can arrange it. And theoretically, if we do this right, let's get this one here. This will be the game text box. Just right, it will cover most of the image. You can also do this to kind of get the image to not show up in these little corners and stuff if you don't want to. Have them show up there. Boom and boom. Alright, so this is kind of a very easy, basic way to make your card layout like this. Another really easy way is to create a frame for what you want in Photoshop. Let's go ahead and open Photoshop. Okay, we want a new project. Right, again, just to keep everything consistent, Yep, let's make it card sized. There we go. Here is my Photoshop. And now I'm just going to create a quick, something I can use to have go over my image without having to do like what I did with all the bubbles and stuff in the last one. So I'm going to select everything here by pushing Control A, and then I'm going to push Control X to cut out the white, and then push Control V to put it back. And the reason I did that is so that I can go down here and take this background and throw it away. So now that background is thrown away, if I cut parts of this out, say I want this to be where the image is, it will actually make it a transparent section, and now the image will go in there. So let's get rid of that, and let's make something a little bit more interesting than just a white square. Let's file, open. Again, these are personal images. Let's go ahead and grab the Doctor Who ones. So let's see here. Can I? No, I need to copy that again. Boom. Copy. Copy. There we go. Let's go there, and let's go up one, images. I got other assets. Let's see what assets there are here. This is some cool assets here. I'm using this Doctor Who as a background because this is one of my projects I did a few years ago. These are just kind of leftover assets that I had from those files. I'm going to grab, that's kind of too busy. This one's kind of neat. Yeah, let's grab, well, this one. Let's see what it looks like. It's very busy, but there we go. So I'm going to take this image, I'm going to cut it out of this, go over here, paste it. We're only seeing black, but I think it's because, yeah, the image is massive. Let's shrink it down. So I am just going to shrink it down as close as I can, zoom back in, put this kind of in the middle. So yeah, so this is going to be a little bit more crazy, a little bit more ink intensive if you're going to use this as your background. Let's go ahead and nudge this kind of more center like so. And let's go ahead and use the rectangle tool. Let's cut out an image area here for our images. Now, when it comes to prototypes, you don't have to be perfect with this, because a graphic designer is going to come back and do this better than what you'll end up doing. All right, I need to have this selected, and then delete. Select this, delete. There we go. File, save as. Let's call this background test 1. Again, this image is very busy, but it's that's how I probably wouldn't necessarily use this, but there we go. So let's see, a file, open. I think I threw it on my desktop. Yep. Here, did I not? File, save as, desktop, background test 1. There it is. So why can't this see it? Oh, because I didn't hit place. I hit up as I was looking for InDesign files. So I'm going to go desktop. Boom. Grab the background test. Like so. And then I can now add this as a layer here. In fact, what I will do is I'll take this background layer and I'll just paste this into it for now, and then let's see what that looks like. So let's move this out of the way. Let's kill this. Oops, nope, not that. Oh, I just put it in that thing. Oops. Let's move that out of the way. Let's move this out of the way. Let's just delete all these extra things that we don't actually need for this version of the prototype card. Oh yeah, that's right. I locked that link layer. Let's go layer, unlock that. Like that, and then let's do this. Control C, Control V, and let's make this one here, this rectangle in the card frame layer, and then let's put that image inside here. So go here, hit place, grab the image we want, make sure it is locked in like that. So I just when I did that, I went up here, and this is a thing that fills the it proportionally fills the frame, and so it will shrink it down just a little bit. I'll set that there, and now my card image should theoretically sit behind this frame. This is my preferred method of doing this, having just something that's already cut out. So, and then I can cut this down to make sure that goes like that. Hit that push, hit that button again to fill it, and yeah. So now we have our image inside our frame. Though the image is kind of very square, I probably will still grab a box like this without white in it. Let's go like that. Let's throw this into the card frame layer, and I'll just take this like this and just give it a little bit more of a round edge. Now you can, if you want to, just throw your images into something like this as well, which is probably the easiest way to do it. It will mean that it won't be part of your, so I want layers, card image, let's lock this, card image. It won't be part of some of those layers, but yeah, you can paste. So, oh no, that's right. Unlock this now, grab this, and I can paste it into it. So now this has the image. I don't know what this white bit though is. Oh, it's just pasted to the side. Sorry. It's like, what was that white square doing? Okay, there we go. And this is probably the easiest way to do it. It's just have a floating frame like that, and you just, every image you just paste inside. You can do this here. This method here is, like I said, a little bit more painstaking, but I think it's slightly better. And then when you have it locked, you can kind of just throw that in there. So if I go to my pages here, every page will have that in there. But each page will have these layers as well. So if I go to my main page and delete this from this, boom, so that's gone. And I go here and I paste that image on this thing. I can just now place any image I want, kind of find where it wants to go, and it will be in that photo layer. And I won't have to worry about sizing or cropping or stuff like that. So if you have an image you kind of want to use for the background, this can work. If you don't have an image, or you want to keep it quite simple for your prototype, which is something I would suggest doing, I would probably just, oh yeah, I have to unlock the layer. I would just move that over and put this here, like so. And now you have a very basic image that you can just pop in there. Then you don't have to lock this layer as well, so you can just move things in and around it. So anyways, let's go ahead and make a couple of text box areas. So we have the top of the card here, like so. I just held shift when I did this line key to make sure that it stayed straight, and I'm just upping the thickness of it so that it will just kind of create a little bit of a what is the thickness of the thing? 5. So yeah, it's supposed to be a 5. Create a little bit of an area up there. I can bring it down here if I want to kind of tie in the image. In fact, let's make the image go all the way to the edge like so. Make that stretch out, and let's just bring this and this down like this, just to kill any extra things there. And then let's bring this down like this, and now I've created kind of a place to put keywords or what have you there. I have a place for a title up here, and then a place for game text down here. Now this is kind of where you want to start thinking about that's interesting. What is, oh yeah, that's because I had that picture there. This is where you want to kind of think about how you want your card to be laid up, what type of things you want on your card, and that sort of thing. Because there are a lot of different ways you can go about making cards and doing stuff like this. I would suggest keeping it as basic as possible. And sorry, got a message here. What does it say? Oh, okay. Nothing important to this. Okay, cool. So anyways, I would keep it basic. I would keep it something you can print. You don't even need images at this point, really. I like having images because I do a lot of franchise-based games, and so I want to invoke the right kind of memories or feelings about that show in my images. So I tend to keep a lot of images in my prototypes just to get people to, remember the scene that I'm referring to, or kind of harken back to the correct moment in the show. So that's basically why I use a lot of images like that in my stuff. But everything else you can keep quite basic, so you can print out and do stuff quickly. If you want icons on your cards, like if you have certain card types and stuff like that, you can make a bunch of different parent. See here, this is page attributes. Let's go ahead and see new parent. Yep, I can call this parent B. And it's going to be just like parent A, except this is going to have different icons. So let's say parent A has a green icon up here to show that it is an event card. Let's say that's what green means in our game. It means it's an event. Later on, the graphic designer can put a cool design there. But for now, we just need players to know that this particular card is an event, and we're going to do that by having the top corner have an event icon. So now this is the event card, but let's say I want an equipment card. So let's go down here, paste in place, and move it over. So this is parent B. So let's say equipment cards are blue. Okay. So now I can go to these guys. They're all on parent A. So if I right click this, I can go down to where is it? Apply parent pages, and I can go ahead and apply parent page B. Boom. And now it's going to be the blue icon for all the blue cards, and you have the green icon for all the the green cards and stuff like that. And there could be other changes as well. Like, let's say blue is not equipment, but blue is a character, and characters have some stats. So let's say characters in the bottom here have 4 different stats. So you have, let's say, strength, power, intelligence, and dodge. Strength, power, intelligence, dodge. Maybe power is not the right word, but let's say you have 4 different stats. The rulebook tells you what each one of them are. You can put 4 icons at the bottom. Let's say here, I'm going to hit this little icon here, which will let me organize these so they're equally distant from each other, which is a very key and useful item to have. I'll pop these guys up here, and then I'm going to go ahead and drop another bar line here so it separates this from my game text, so people know the game text is up there, that is down there. And now I can have 4 different stats down here. Let's give each of these stats a different color, just to say that they're different. The green stats are this, the yellow stats are this, that kind of thing. Boom, 4 different colors, 4 different stats. And now it's an even bigger difference between the two, and it changes the card format. Let's say because this is added here, you want to have more space for game text, so you could actually even shrink your image if you want to have smaller images for character cards, and more game text for that. Boom. Yeah, and 2 different parents, 2 different everything. The other thing you can do is you can highlight multiple things, and you can apply multiple parent pages to those things. So now they're both characters. Boom. And yeah, both these are now character cards and not event cards. So let's go ahead and go up here. Where is the options? No, that's not what I want. I wanted to see if I could do a page, new page, parent, override parent pages. Panel options. Yeah, panel options does not give me what I want. I want to see if I could change the name. I'm not 100% sure, but I think you can. I just don't know how. Right now, color, rotate view, page, override all page, apply parents 2 pages. Yeah, this is all stuff. There's probably a way to do that, but you could probably label these. It would be a lot easier than just calling A and B. You could call it event and non-event. See if I duplicate this. No, it just calls it C. Delete parent. Yeah. Yep. Boom. Okay. So yeah. So that is that. Let's go ahead and talk about game text rules and all that stuff. Let's go to pages. Go to actual card. This one. Let's make this an event again. So I'll go to our apply parents. Go here and apply our A. Okay. So we have an event here. So we're going to want to have some kind of unified text to go across your whole stuff. So let's say this is called found ally. Yeah, that's what we're going to call it. Found ally. Well, we have a lot of space here, so we could actually make this game text bigger. I think this is probably a good size for, good size for title, but let's go ahead and make it fairly large. And let's go ahead and center this here. So there is that. Now let's say I want to play around with fonts here. Let's just grab a random font. I always go with kind of basic fonts for what I'm doing. I like Medium Pro. The graphic designer will come in and pick better fonts, make sure that you have the rights for those fonts and all those things. So something that's clear for the playtesters to read, something that's easy to read, are always the best choices here. Let me go ahead and bring that down here. Oh, sorry. Before I do that, so now I've created kind of a size I want for my for all my game text. So the next thing I want to do is go down here to character styles. So I'm going to create a new one. So I have this kind of highlighted here. I have my cursor in there. So this new one should be based off that. Let's call this card header. And what this will do is it'll give me basically the ability to make my text be that no matter where I go. So if I text down here and say man with box, I can highlight this, go down here to character styles, go to card header, and it will change it to the size and font that I use for my card header up above. So that's kind of really nice. You can I would do this with every type of text you do. So let's go down here and do keywords like this, keyword, and then let's say there's more than one keyword. So bird, box, man, something like that. So there's a bunch of keywords that you want here. Let's say we want keywords to be a little bit more visible, so let's make them bold so they look a little bit more important. Let's put them in the center here, like so. And let's go ahead and make sure that the actual text themselves is centered, like so. So here's some keywords here. Actually, let's do this because these are keywords. Most likely, though, like playtesting, sometimes I put these like helpful, like this is what a keyword is here. In the rule book, it'll probably just say everything in this box is a keyword, and you don't have to worry about that. But anything you can do to kind of help the, your first round of the game kind of get going, I kind of tend to do. So now these are keywords. They're different than your headers. So let's go ahead and make a new character style. Let's call this keywords, like so. And now that is keyed for keywords. So let's go down here. This is just going to be man and box to say. And now I want this to be the keywords. So go here, keywords, boom. And now I have the same font, text, and all type as my keywords up here. And then I'll do one last one. I'll do a game text box down here. Alright, Pacific Guard. When played, find a man with box keyword. This is 12 point. I'll make this 11 point. 11 point is kind of my go-to game text box size. I wouldn't go smaller than 11 font, to be honest. When it comes to cards, just because it's always going to be easy to read. I want this to be kind of a different font than what is up above, just to kind of differentiate it a little bit. And then I will make this character style called game text. And there we go, game text. Game text, keywords, and header. So if I go like this and hit keywords, it'll change it all to the keyword, bolded in that font. And if I want game text, bam, it goes right back. So it's a really nice little, now I have all three of those for everything I'm doing for the rest of the game. Now let's say, go down here, let's give this guy a keyword. Oh yeah, sorry, game text. I will say so I added a keyword in there, tinkers. Say it's the type of action you can take. Lets you work on a computer or something. Now every time he does, he gets to draw a card. So there's this game text. And now this guy will have stats. So let's put some numbers down here. Let's put a 5. And numbers are always going to look weird. So let's go ahead and do a 5 like this. So that's going to be a little bit bigger. And let's go ahead and make sure this goes to the center of the box here. And let's make this box exactly the size of this square here for a second. As close as I can. And then let's go ahead and maybe I go down a little bit. There we go. So let's say a little bit lower. There we go. And so now I'm going to copy this. I'm just holding, in Design, if you hold down Alt and Shift, it copies what you just had selected. And so that's kind of what I did there. Let's go ahead and make this 4. He is really low, whatever that is, but he's really high here. Boom. Alright, so those are his stats. Let's go ahead and make this stat text another character style. And let's call it stat number, like that. Now it's a really good habit to make sure that you do this as you go through. It keeps your numbers good. It keeps your it keeps all this stuff go. So when you exit the program and come back, it's all ready for you to go. You don't have to try to remember what fonts is. You don't have to look it up. Like you don't have to click. You can click this and see. Okay, it's 11 point. It's using Arial. This one here is 12 point and is using Minion Pro. This one here is 16 and also using Minion Pro. So you can go through and figure those parts out, but it's a lot nicer when you can just click the box and just go. It's all sorted. Same thing with your layers. Let's go back up to our pages. Let's go back to our parent pages, and let's go and make sure all the layers are correct. So this is card image frame. Yep. Cool. This one here is also card image frame, and this is for keyword boxes and stuff. Let's go ahead and just toss that up there. This line, I'm going to do the same thing. Toss it up there. This is an icon, so let's make a new layer here. Let's call it icon. And let's throw this guy right up in here. So now icons have their own layer. There we go. Just to make things a little bit easier for when I'm trying to find things. And then of course I have to do that same thing down here. Layers, icon, this one. Let's throw that up here. This and this and nope, not that. That. Let's go ahead and throw that into this. Let's go ahead and throw this. So one of the things, because I cut and pasted this whole entire, I cut and pasted this whole entire section. is this whole section down here, everything went into the same layer. And that happens once in a while. Let's go ahead and make a new layer and call this stats. Oh, let's just put the stuff in here first and then call it stats. Caps lock on, stats. Okay, stat, number, boxes. Let's be precise with that one. Cool. So there we go. So that is this down here. Now, I think it's nice about having them in the right layers that I can lock them or I can turn them off. Oh, not all of them popped up. That's a good thing I checked. So let's see, what else am I missing here? I see these guys. Can I get them all to go up, or is this going to be... There we go. So now if I turn this off, like I don't want to see it, the whole area turns off, so I can kind of pick and choose with the layers I have here. This is a card image. Yep. Even though this is a card image, this is also the card image frame. So let's go ahead and throw that down there. So what are these lines? So this one here is part of this here. And what are you? You are the icon. So the icon box. What is this? No idea. Doesn't seem to attribute. That is my background. There. Okay. So let's go back to pages. So now that I have my layers sorted properly, I can now in this turn off the icon if I want to while I'm here, turn off my background, lock my background, turn off the card image if I want. Ooh, there's a line down there that's with the card image. Let's go and go back here, grab this. What is that? Okay, grab this, layers, and put that in this. Up here, this line actually is part of this whole area. There we go. So now if I turn off that, that just turns off those layers up there and there. And if I turn this off, that should be nothing because there's nothing to attach to that card image frame. Yep. Let's go ahead and just delete this layer altogether. Yep, because my card image frame now is that for the simplicity of things. And let's go here, layers. Cool. Everything is looking good. So that is layers here. So I need to go back. I didn't realize this. So let's see how far do I have to go back. Pages. All my text boxes were in the card thing. So let's go ahead and change this from card images to text. Boom. Now that's my text boxes, and that makes sense. So there's a reason for that to be there. Cool, cool, and cool. Let's go ahead and throw this in this right layer again. It is. Okay, cool. I wasn't sure if I went back too far. But yeah, there we go. That is the basics on designing quick cards for prototypes. You don't have to do anything beyond that, nothing too fancy. You just need to make sure all the information you want on the card is there, and you got yourself a basic card image. See here, what else do we want to do today? Well, we have basic cards. Let's go ahead and do file new document. And let's see here, where are we in inches? Let's go 8.5 by 11. And let's do, we're facing pages. Let's put 5 pages in there for now. Start. Columns, margins, great. Boom. So this is a basic rulebook layout. So your first page is going to be your cover. So this is your cover image. It's really easy. You just put whatever image you want there on the cover. I'm just going to put anything here. go. Do that. Let's make it blue. And let's go ahead and make one more square here. Let's fill that in with white. This. No. Okay. And now the rulebook is among us. Haha. Sorry, just being goofy there. Let's go ahead and make this a different color. So if you want a new color, you hit this little new swatch here, add new swatch, and then you just double click this and you can play around with this if you want to, or you can do the easier way, which is, I think it's this one. Nope, not that one. Yeah. No, where is the... Oh. No, so show all swatches. Where is my... Anyways, you can kind of play around with this. This will get you to where you want to go, but I was just trying to find the there's a color panel thing that's a little bit more intuitive, but that works. Got me the orange, and yeah. So let's give our game a title. So this game's now called The Cards Among Us, and it's the Among Us card game. Alright. So, first things I always kind of map out in a rule book is the zones of where the text is going to be. So I always know right away that the first bit here is going to be a quick intro story. Let's zoom in here. So this is going to be a little intro story about the Among Us game. And I'm just going to go here and go, what is it, type, fill this with placeholder text. And I can kind of size this and see where I kind of want it. That seems like a good amount of text. Let's go ahead and clear out the other text. I'm just holding shift and down and then backspacing to get rid of the text that's underneath it. So yeah, a quick story. And then, yeah. And this is just gibberish that the computer will just throw in there, and you can kind of see what the level of text there is. I always make sure that if I have something that isn't meant to be there, I put it in pink. That way when I gotta go through, I'm like, oh yeah, I have to fix that. I have to add this part to it. So after your quick story, you're going to have I always like to put a component, kind of basically list out all the components there. If you, right now I'm in kind of the what it will look like when you print it mode, but if you hit, when you're not click something W, it'll go to your kind of, what's the best way to put it, your normal kind of construction mode, I guess. And in this mode, you can see the spelling errors, where in the other one it won't show you the underlines, so it's a bit harder to use that way. So always like a little bit of gap between my two columns. This column will be components. This will be more of a list than a thing of words. So let's go ahead and make this look more listy. So I'm just going to boom, 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 boom. Let's go like this. And here's a list of all the game's components in a row. Boom. Alright, so there we go, components. Over here, I like to normally put like a what this game is about section, and then I'll probably put in goal of the game, and any other kind of thing I think is important as the intro. And these won't be the rules. Will be just quick synopsises, basically a synopsis of the rules. So you will find the rules in the rule book where you should, but this is kind of like, okay, so I'm trying to do this and I don't want this to happen. As you kind of read through the rules, it gives you kind of more context for what you're about to read. The next couple pages I'm going to make be component pages. I'm a very visual person, and so I like to see all my components on every page. Again, this is going to be a header, and let's give it a special font. Let's make it something interesting. Not Comic Sans. Let's make it, sure, this letter Gothic standard. That is our header for now. So there we go. So components, and so I will have images of all the different components all over this in the next page, if need be, just so that people can see exactly what each item is. I know a lot of people like to put just the numbers next to things. Sometimes people like to put little explanations of what things are. But yeah, I normally, at this stage, leave a few pages for the components, and then I take them away if I don't need them down the line. But it's just a good kind of headspace to be in. Let's see here. Layers. New layer. No layer, sorry. Pages. New page. Page. And probably what I should do before I get too far, like I did last time, is I should go through all of these, go to my paragraph styles, create new ones so that I can easily use them again later. So header, 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 and then this will be, I'll call this filler text. This will be the color of filler text, and then this up here is black. Alright, is this going to make the whole thing that? So I'm just going to do this and just make a new one and call this basic text. Alright. And yeah, so now it thinks that these are the same thing. So if I make that filler, will that make that filler? Yeah, so what I probably should do is this, and then do basic text up there. Boom. And do the same thing here. This will now become basic text, and this will become filler text. And enter. If you see this little plus, it thinks it's this plus something else, so you can remove that thing, which will change it back to black, and change it to what it thinks a basic paragraph is, or you could put it in the right category. And there we go. Filler text. All right. So this is kind of a basic layout for rules. We don't necessarily need other components. Let's say this is game setup. And what I like to have in game setup actually is I like to do a double spread and have the game board image kind of in the center, like this, of like how the game is, what the game looks like, and all that stuff. So let's make that red. Let's fill it with red. Okay. Okay. So that is game setup, and then you'll have text. So basically fill a text here. I'm just going to copy this to speed things up. And a couple columns talking about how to set up your game. Lots of times I'll put numbers on these, be like, this is the first thing you do, the second thing you do, third thing you do, fourth, that kind of thing, and then have the numbers up here to correspond with what's down here. But that's basically what you're going to want is text down here. Nope, that's that one. Just like this, like so, and your game setup kind of up here as a large image. You can have some text up here too. If you need to explain something, if you want to start labeling all the different components and stuff, that's always a good idea. And where it all lays up. There's a game setup, your components, and the intro to the game. I am going through this kind of fast. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Problem is the audio on my end is a bit slower than the audio on yours, so I see your responses and stuff a lot slower than this, what I see here. Yeah, when I go back to the video, I am still working on the very intro bit, and I'm not even to the component section or any of that. I'm still working on the text now. Okay. But yeah, that is basically how you lay up a quick rule book in InDesign. I like using InDesign for a lot of my design work, mainly because it is just really easy to lay things up and to make those paragraph styles and to do a lot of that stuff right away. And you can kind of, like you see here, you can go really basic with it. And that's all you really need for your first few rule books is kind of have a very basic layout. I tend to not print out the component pages when I hand them out to playtesters because they're empty until the graphic designer puts stuff in them. So I'll probably take those pages and remove them from the PDF. But yeah, that is basically how to throw together playtest cards and a playtest rulebook so you can kind of get going on a prototype. Let's see here, what else do we need? Well, let's say your prototype has tokens. Well, that's pretty simple. Let's make a new document. Yep, same sizes. This is going to be see inches, 8.5 by 11. So let's do a piece of paper. Let's do a single piece of paper, actually. I accidentally did this and had it be facing pages, so let's go ahead and get rid of facing pages, presets, document setup. Yep, we do not have facing pages. Change the orientation to be, no, let's be that. That's fine. Okay. For tokens, it's pretty straightforward. If you want square tokens, you just kind of make the token. One thing that's really nice with InDesign is that you can get it to sort it out for you. Oops, delete that. So yeah, so this right here is how big? Let's make it 2 inches by 2 inches for now. So let's go over here. The stroke, no, it would be under. Oh no, it's not there. Okay, let's just do this. Eyeball it. There's a way to do this more precisely, I think. But I'm just eyeballing it now to get to 2 inches. 2 inches. Hold shift. See if that does it for me. No, that's not doing that. Come on, you can do it. Close enough. Let's see here. Just strokes. It's not strokes. It's what is the thing for icons? Let's go open up Windows here and see if I can find them really quick. Color, effects, objects, layout, line, path former, transform. Is it transform? Here we go. So this, I'm just going to throw this into my workstation here. Let's get this open. So let's see here. I have 2 inches for the height. Let's do 2 here for that. And there we go. So there is a 2 inch by 2 inch square. Let's go ahead and have a 7 point there. Now, in your final designs, you can worry about bleed and stuff like that for the actual printing. Since you're just printing off tokens for yourself, you don't really have to worry about that at this point. This purple line is kind of your edge of paper type thing. If you're typing and doing stuff, yeah, I'd keep it in that line. So yeah, so this is a little bit too big for to do 4. So let's go ahead and make this square smaller. Yeah, 2 inches is huge actually. Let's go ahead and make this 1 inch. 1 inch by 1 inch. Like that. There we go, that's a little bit more manageable. A little inch wide token seems good. Let's just make, how many of these could I fit in here? I'm just going to kind of eyeball this. InDesign is good because it'll tell you when you're at an equal distance like that. And now I can grab all this and move this over like so. Let's get this in the center as best I can. And then I can duplicate it down. So these tokens will need something in them, so let's go ahead and do a place and find something basic to put into these tokens. Let's go back to my Doctor Who stuff because I have a lot of just random Doctor Who images on my phone. On my computer. Left over from the Nemesis project. Let's go ahead and grab. So it's unapproved. No, let's grab. Those are all doctors, weeping angels, control boards, Daleks, photos, sorted. Yeah, let's do this. And let's do icon images, Dalek type out images. So yeah, say we want Dalek tokens. Boom. Got Daleks. Probably should have done this before I did this. So let's just delete these. And let's create a group of Dalek tokens. I'm not going to worry about the distance right now. I'm just going to put them down, and I'll use the tool for distance in a second. I'm going to put it in the middle, and then this little button here will organize them for me. So there's a bunch of Dalek tokens, and I can go boom, boom, boom. Let's go ahead and, I don't know why else wouldn't decide to do that. Let's go ahead and group these. So I'm going to push Control G to group them into a single line. So now they all consider this a single item for groupage. And the reason I'm doing that is now I can hit this button and have them organized that way. So now they become a better grid pattern. Okay. Sometimes I like to grab the top bit. There we go. I wasn't hitting Control Shift. So it looks like I can fit quite a few tokens onto one sheet here. So the Dalek Among Us game has a bunch of Dalek tokens. But what if there was place? A Cyberman Among Us. So now one Cyberman, bunch of Daleks. Need to figure out who the Cyberman is among us. But yeah, so there is a quick and easy, quick and dirty sheet of tokens for building prototypes. And then I'm going to go ahead and let's do an odd shaped card. So new document. There we go. Let's go back to inches because that's what I know. Alright, so instead of having 2.5 and 3.5 inch cards, let's do a 4 inch by 4 inch Well, actually, let's make it, so let's here, inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch. Well, 4 inch is probably more like that, but that's a pretty good size for a tile. Let's create some tiles. Okay. Now, those who have played my first game will probably know of the round circle locations and the little circle dilemmas that plug into those locations. Yeah, when I first started, I decided that needed to be in the playtest thing, and yeah, if I would have thought that one through about how many circles I had to cut out, I would have definitely changed it to squares or rectangles. So I will kind of show you what I should have done for that. So basically, in the game, I had a bunch of little icons. I won't have those icons for this one because those are in old work files I don't have anymore. But we will want a square to kind of start us off with, 4 inch by 4 inch square, and let's give it a kind of a thick border. All right, and then that kind of gives us our outline. Let's go ahead and make some layers for this one. So this will be background. All right, and then what I would have done is, so this is my background was also what I'm going to use to cut this out. So I'm just going to do a dash line so I can kind of see the cut lines for this location. So that is mainly just for playtesting and prototyping. It gives me kind of, that's what that's going to be for, fields. You can, and I'll see it paste in place, solid, and let's make this yellow. Right, yellow, and let's go ahead and set that in the background. So layers, boom, boom. You can do that as well. I use that for one game. They have kind of caution lines and stuff, but it's also good for cutting out as well. So I'm just going to do that for that. So there is my basic shape for cutting things out. In that game, you took 2 tiles and you put them together to kind of form a task or a challenge. So now I'm doing square, so I'm going to make the other square. Let's go ahead and make the other square just so I can use it as a reference. I'm going to make this square a 2 inch by 2 inch square. Actually, no, let's make it 3 by 3. What are you doing? Why are you not 3 inches? Go. Alright, so actually no, I'm going to want this to be smaller than that. So maybe 2.5 by 2.5. Let's see what does that look like? That looks like a good size. And so instead of having the circles eat into the instead of having the circles eat into the circle, I'm going to have these squares kind of eat into each other. So I'm going to use this one as a kind of guide. And I'm going to go ahead and make this center be white. And I'm going to give itself a dashed edge so I know where to cut. And let's make that same size as this one. It's 4, right? Yeah, 4 and 4. And then cut and paste in place. So this one is going to be that one. So let's go to my layers here. This one though, I'm going to change this to yellow and then swap. Oh no, let's change it to yellow, make it not dashed. Sorry, solid. I'm going to swap that with this one, and then this one is going to lose its center color. There we go. Oh, and then this one here, the yellow one, needs to be, it is 4 point, right? Oh, so why did this one lose its center when I told the other one to lose its center? That goes white. This one loses its center, like so. Okay, and then I'm going to highlight both of them. So I hit shift to highlight them both, and then I'm going to click this, and you see this bold line here. It means that this yellow line won't move when I start clicking these things up here. So I can hit this one and this one here to centralize that line there. And now I have where my dilemmas are going to cut in to my mission. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Set this here. And now I know where that is going to cut into that. Cool. And that will make it a lot easier. Actually, where is this one center? Oh, that's why this one feels so tall, because it is a lot taller. There we go. So that is kind of how I'm going to have those. So these will form kind of oblong things instead of being round, though, and making it hard to cut out. Now on those cards, each of the main cards have 2 to 3 icons on there. So I'm just going to do this. I'm going to make these icons a color just so they pop out a little bit better on the screen. But there would be whatever you want them to be in that game. But yeah, so this one I have these, and then the dilemma would add more to it. So dilemma would have 3, and then you'd put them together, and that would be the 6. Well, basically 3 to 6 icons that you needed to pass the adventure. Let's go ahead and set these here, just so that they are in the square. Let's go ahead. Can I do that same thing with this and put these down here? Like so. Alright. So that's kind of like where the challenges would be. This is just the squares here. I would probably not have this section. I'm just showing you how they would line up with the other ones for playtesting purposes only. Okay. And then I would separate, because this is 2 different locations, so I would want a line that separates the 2 so that players know clearly, well, this is one side, this is the other. So like something like that. Each of these had a game text that would tell you what they got if you won. So that can go down here. Get, and then, oops, actually before I do that, I'm going to do this. So I have that one right down there. And this one I'll flip over, so it's part of that side. This one here, again, I would put there. And then these cards had their own what you lost if you failed, which would be down here. But for now, that is not what I want. So I'm not making the dilemmas, I'm just making the locations. And there we go. I made a quick location that had plug-inable other location bits to finish the challenge. And so yeah, that's what my locations would look like if I made square ones for Doctor Who, Time of the Daleks in my prototypes, instead of forcing myself to cut out so many circles. Oh my gosh, I cut out so many circles in that. It was not even fun. Cool. Well, that is that. Oh yeah, artifacts for when I told it when I set it up to be pages. Let's go ahead and get rid of the pages, and let's go ahead, file, document setups, facing pages, no, boom and boom, and let's go ahead and do this actually. So pages, let's create a new parent. Okay, let's make this be my main parent page, like there. And let's go ahead and make the parent page of this. Let's delete this, 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 and this. And then make that, and then this. Oops, wrong side. I thought I was on the parent page, but I was on the regular page. So let's put those things back. Let's go to the parent page and delete those things. Boom, 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 boom. Alright. So that is now a parent page, so I can now apply parent pages and make it B. And I can get rid of this, 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 and this, and that. So yeah, so the only things on this page now are, I can do that too, are the icons and what you get. So if I duplicate this now, I can change. This one needs 3 greens, but this one needs you to have a green, a red. This one is 2 blues and a green. So then I can kind of change up all those on the fly. This one's going to need yellow and blue. This one's going to need 2 greens and a red. And yeah. And now I can kind of just duplicate this and keep on making more and more random encounters. Oh wait, locations for my encounters for the game. So yep, that is some locations. But yeah, today I kind of just wanted to play around with making some random things. I think next week, once I kind of sit down and look through how the stream went this week, I'm going to do some modifications, if I can, to some of the things. But the big thing I'm going to try to do next week is create a simple game and see how far I can get in 2 hours. And then the following week, I'll either work on that game or finish it, depending on how complicated that game is, and go on. If you want to join me for that stream, feel free. I will be taking suggestions from people. Hopefully I can figure out the very long delay aspect to the stream from me to you guys, because it seems like I'm almost like a minute ahead, which is not ideal for trying to do feedback and stuff like that. So I'm going to try to play around and see what I can do to make that latency faster. Check to see how the stream is doing on the actual stream page. Yeah, I'm actually still working on the locations on the stream page, which is interesting. Yeah, I'm just now making the parent page. Yeah, so that is way beyond past where we are now. Yep, that is way too fast. Okay, so let's get rid of that and let's get back to this. Okay, cool. So I now have made a bunch of locations. I have made tokens for our game, and I've started working on laying up a rule book and cards. Depending on what you kind of want to do in a game, if you're trying to do a print and play game, cards are great focus for that, because it's really easy for players to print out cards and then they can put them in the sleeves with other playing cards from other games, like extra Magic the Gathering cards or what have you, and just kind of slip them over the top, and then it's really easy for them to shuffle and play. So if your goal is to make a print and play game, cards are a very easy and kind of straightforward way of doing that. Game boards have become a little bit more difficult. They have to print them out and put them on cardstock and foam board and stuff like that, so that's like a little extra step, but it's not that bad. Tokens can get a little fiddly if you make them round, so if you make print and play games, I highly suggest making square tokens, and your fans will like you for that. But if you do make round tokens, make sure that they are a size that are easily punched with an automatic, like 1-inch circle hole punch or something like that, because that will also make your playtesters and your print and play players very happy with you. But yeah, with when it comes to making a playtest set like this, like if you have your game rules and you have everything kind of set, and you want to start sending them out and get playtesters to play your game, the amount of barriers that you take away from that player playing the game, the better. So if they have to print out their own game and cut it out, make sure that the things that they cut are incredibly easy to cut out. So square tokens are quite good because you can get a guillotine going and you can cut lots of them out at once. Give them lots of bleed room so that when they use a guillotine, they have a lot of space to kind of cut and do stuff. Like with something like this, I totally expect that they would use a guillotine, cut down the lines, and have a big white border around the tokens. But it gets them done and gets them to where they need to go quickly. When it comes to locations and things like that, definitely do like what I did here. Well, and don't do what I did in my original Doctor Who game, which I have a copy of right here. So I can kind of show you what I mean. So let's go ahead and grab this copy of Doctor Who. I had every location here be a circle with little cutouts. The graphic designer had this really cool look and feel for these locations, and I really liked them a lot. And so the cutouts would kind of plug in like this, and like I said, it forms a challenge with these icons here. But each time I updated one of these, the whole round circle you had to cut out. You can't really guillotine that, so you have to sit there with scissors on each individual dilemma to cut out. And then this had huge like round sides to cut out. And so I would sit and cut out every single circle for my playtest group, and that one was done completely in-house. And yeah, I definitely regret making the decision of having round locations and round dilemmas as the playtest. Looks great as the final design, and it can be the final design, but remember your playtest and your prototypes do not have to be the final design, and they probably shouldn't. If you make it look too well polished and too done, then designers and companies that look at your games will probably look at them and think that you consider that your finished product and not something that you think a graphic designer will pick up and finish. And so they might not want to pick up your game based on the fact that they might think that you might give them you might make it difficult to want to change some of those aspects of the game. So yeah, I kind of like when it comes to prototypes, I think you want to keep them simple, keep them straightforward. If you do have like a Doctor Who license or something that you're working towards, throwing in the images to kind of invoke what you're doing is great. If you have kind of a cartoon style or something and you have the artist in house who's going to do the artwork for you, yeah, definitely add the art. The more art you add, the better. But when it comes to like polishing and the final graphic design, I wouldn't worry about it at this stage. I would just focus on getting a playable version on the table that isn't hideous, and that's as far as I would go. Mainly because it's a lot of work that somebody else is going to redo down the line, and I think every designer that I know has including myself, has gone the extra mile and like made fully like designed out cards with backgrounds and a bunch of extra stuff. But when you're trying to make a playtest set that you're going to have people download and print and cut out on their own, making it as easy on their system as possible. Make it so that if they print this out, this one has like huge white spots on it. So that means you're not using ink on every spot on this card. If I put a cool textured background or something back there, that's just more ink they have to print out. And it's just not a nice thing to do to your playtesters, because that means that they either have to go and get it professionally printed, and then that costs them money, or it uses a lot of ink, and then that also will cost them money. So if you have sending out PDF versions of your game to have people playtest them, I would definitely keep it basic. Keep it basic so you can cut them out and play. Has all the right stuff on the card, but does not have everything on the card. I just realized I am missing my numbers. They're there, but they're in the text. Are they too far down? Or are these too far up? What are these under? Oh, okay. So they're there, and that's stat boxes. So let's put the stat boxes under. There we go. There's my numbers again. But yeah, so yeah, keep it as basic and easy as you possibly can. In fact, in this kind of situation, you might go through and just say, well, these don't actually have to be a color. So let's go ahead and just get rid of the colors there. And instead, let's just put the names of them above each one. So let's go down a couple spots, maybe one up. So I'll make this go up a couple, that, and just have a little simple. Here that this says. Where did my text box go? And why did it not stay? Okay, so I don't think it actually even registered that I wanted a text box. Let's do. That's wrong, but I'll fix that in a second. Here we go. Yes, I have. Let's make this one be strength. I'm in D&D mode right now, so let's go ahead and make that be Dex. Yeah, so you have what's this one? So let's keep it all. Let's keep it all simple like that, and then I can go to my pages and fix where the numbers are. Here, boom, 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 and then 1, 2. There we go. And now I have a little indicator there. It's going to be a lot less colors on my playtesters, printers, so they'll be able to do that quite easily. And I might even give the playtesters an option where there is no art if they want to print just the pages. But I kind of, again, when it comes to artwork, when you're doing licensed stuff, it's really helpful to see if the feeling of the show is evoked by it, and the images do a lot to do that. Of course, having the abilities and everything else correspond with how that person would work. Like if this was Captain Jack, and it would say like whenever this character would die, it doesn't die, instead it would turn it to your hand or something like that. And so Captain Jack always comes back. That kind of idea is quite good to keep your themes and stuff quite strong in your games as well. But yeah, I think imagery is a huge way to kind of have that instant connection with the scene from the episode that you're trying to emphasize on the card or trying to emulate. Let's see here. What else can we do today? So we've done a rule book, kind of shown you basic tokens. Tokens is easy. We showed kind of a complicated location setup like we have in Doctor Who, Time of the Daleks. We have 2 different things that plug together to make a whole. And I showed you how I would do it nowadays if I went back. Doctor Who, Time of the Daleks is the very first board game I've ever designed. And so I wanted everything to be perfect because I felt like if it wasn't perfect, then I might not get the opportunity to do it again. So when I did the playtest, I went way overboard with how detailed all the locations were, the cards were, everything was super detailed. And there was a very, very small amount of time when the playtesters played with cards that were not almost like the final design of the cards. Like as soon as the graphic designer designed something, I immediately placed it to give it that feel. And yeah, that was kind of, it was nice because I got to see the game kind of look the way it should look, but it was not nice to my time. I spent a lot of extra time cutting things out, and since they were round, I had to cut them out by hand, and I had to cut around circles, and then I need multiple sets to send to different branches in our business at the time, because this is before I was a freelance designer. And so I would have to cut all those things out again and send like 2 to 3 copies out. And then if I updated a location dilemma, I had to really make sure that I updated anything that was, every update I made was completely necessary to the update. It was actually kind of interesting because the symbols on the cards and the way that you roll the dice in the game were all the skills that the Doctor used to basically solve that episode's location or that particular monster. And when I kind of went through and did all the episodes that I chose for the game, the locations and the creatures, and then I put what I thought would be the obvious skills that were needed for those. The skill base that you had to roll was actually really even. Like I went through and counted how, because there's 6 different skills in the game. I counted how many times each skill showed up, and I think everything was within one of each other. So one might have been one extra here, and one might be one lower there, but it was a very easy thing to adjust and make sure that that each of the skills were kind of represented equally, which was something that kind of surprised me how that just happened. But because I based it off the show, I guess, and I didn't really take any kind of creative liberty with how to defeat a monster or how to defeat a location. The show itself, since it itself is varied, I think, it created an even distribution of the skills that were used, which I thought was interesting. So I didn't really have to play around too much with changing skills or trying to figure out, okay, well, I have too many of this skill. Now I need to add like 3 more of this skill to balance that out. I didn't really have to do that in the game. It kind of just did it automatically, which was, I don't know, it was kind of interesting. And I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting to have to fiddle with a lot of stuff, and I was expecting to have to balance one skill or another over others because one would come up way too much. Like I was convinced that the clever, cunning skill with the little light bulb was going to show up way too much, and that the tactics or the fighting skills would show up way too little, just because of the premise of Doctor Who. But then it all kind of washed out in the end, and so that was quite cool that it was all balanced without really having to try to balance. That was an interesting gamer moment for my first game design. Interesting fact about the Doctor Who board game is the first edition of that game I made when I was about 10 years old, I think. And yeah, I've been kind of I tweaked it and kind of was designing it ever since, as a fun back in my mind project. I think when I was about 12 there was a prototype of it that was kind of fully done. Some of the things stayed, a lot of it changed. At that time, skills were not rolled; they were just on the card, and either you passed the dilemma or you didn't. And that was kind of how that version of the game went. Yeah, and then in college, I kind of played around with doing a couple other little things, and I changed up how I saw companions and the doctors interacting, because I kind of realized that the companions, what they do in the show is that the doctor kind of has all the skills. He knows how to do everything. The companions kind of highlight certain problems for him to solve. They kind of basically focus the doctor onto what he needs to focus on. And so I had this cool focusing mechanic that was about changing the doctor's skills or adding, taking a skill away and replacing it with another skill he already has to focus him on that skill. And that was kind of a cool mechanic. It was very complicated though at that stage. Fast forward to when Doctor Who Time and Daleks was being designed and I was going to pitch it, I still had the written down stats. So the night before I pitched it, I looked at that and I just didn't, I never really liked the yes or no aspect of the game. Like, you hit a location and a dilemma and you passed it or you failed it without anything on your end. Like, you had the skills or you didn't have the skills. And I was not a huge fan of that mechanic. So I kind of sat down and I just started playing around with different ideas and stuff. And then I looked over on my shelf and there was a copy of King of Tokyo on my shelf. And I was kind of thinking about how I liked that game, how simple the base mechanic of that game was. And I realized, what if the skills were on dice? Kind of like how they have their different actions on dice. What if that was my skills and you rolled the skills? And that's kind of where the dice were born. Later on, I figured out that you could have focus dice, and I was able to bring back the swapping skill idea with the original game with a very simple version of it. So you had 3 different types of companions. You had the kind of the talking and diplomatic companions, which in the game ended up being green. You had your sciencey and kind of thinking companions, and that is the blue companions. And then you had your kind of more militaristic or aggressive companions, and those were your red companions. And they focused the Doctor into those skill sets. So I created colored dice that had more of one of that type of symbol on it. So for the talkers, I put 3 running, 2 diplomacy, and 1 tactics symbols on that die. For the kind of smart, the cunning guys, I put I put cunning, and I put science, and I put what's the third one I put on that one? I put diplomacy on that one. And then I put diplomacy on that because then the red dice had 3 symbols for fighting, 2 symbols for tactics, and 1 cunning. So every dice that had 3 of, that was the only dice that had that symbol on it, that beyond the black dice, which had 1 of each. And every dice that had 2 of, there was another dice that had 1 of that. So you can kind of hedge your bets between a couple colors if you're trying to get that color to work. And so so that was kind of a cool way to kind of show those skills. And then when you roll them and try to get those skills on your dice, then you had the ability to have cool rules that let you re-roll dice or change a dice to another facing, and you felt like you were interacting with the mission more than just, do you have the skills? Yes? Cool, you pass. You don't? Oh, then no, you fail. And I basically made the game so much better. And I came up with that, even though I've been working on the game since I was 10 years old, I came up with that, like the core mechanic of the game, kind of the night before, and fixed a huge problem with the game before I even pitched it, which was good timing because the final version of the game was well liked. I was put on the project. Of course, this is my first board game project that I was ever put on, and I got it done, and it was a really fun project to do. Mainly because I love Doctor Who. It's a kind of one of my favorite TV shows, so it was really cool to show a fan-made Doctor Who game for Doctor Who fans that was not a cookie cutter type game that had like a cool theme that they put Doctor Who over the top of. So it's not, this is Doctor Who flavored zombie dice, or this was Doctor Who like a card game with tricks and points and stuff like that now has Doctor Who cards in it. It was an actual Doctor Who game that you got to play as the Doctor, and you did what he did in the TV show. He had adventures, found companions, and did what he should do. And I like doing that in games. When I sit down to design a game, I really like to break down what the theme is first. Be it a licensed game like Doctor Who, or even a non-licensed game. I like to kind of weed out what the story is and what the game is going to be about story-wise, so that I can focus the actual design aspect to mirror those stories. So when it comes to things like, let's say, Doctor Who, I would take, okay, well, what makes Doctor Who Doctor Who? Well, there are multiple main characters. So this would be the only game where everyone plays a different character, but they all play the main character. So that's kind of cool. So I made sure that was a component, that everyone got to be a doctor. And then the Doctor likes to have adventures and get companions, so I needed to make sure that was in the game. And so I kind of had like a list of things that, had to be in the game that were Doctor Who. And so once I was done, a lot of the aspects of the game kind of wrote itself. As soon as I knew that I was going to roll dice for the skills, that mechanic kind of sorted itself out. And then as soon as I knew, of course, I always knew that I was going to use skills to pass dilemmas and locations. As soon as I watched the episodes, I was able to figure out exactly what skills those locations should have and what skills those monsters should have to defeat them. So those kind of things wrote themselves. I just had to watch the episode and remember what happened in that episode, and then I was able to make the tiles just incredibly quickly. And so that was a cool aspect of that game, is letting the show itself kind of dictate how the game worked. There's a scene in one of the episodes where you look inside the sonic screwdriver, and it has a little power indicator that had a little 5 indicators. It's River Song's sonic screwdriver that was a modified version of the Doctor's, and it had her energy kind of eeping away as the Doctor races to save her. And from that episode where they have the 5 little energy bars, I came up with the fact that there'll be 5 different. I mean, you could have up to 5 Sonic tokens, and that created the economy for the game because you use those to buy cards or do special effects in the game. So you can have up to 5 tokens based off of that one scene in that one episode. It kind of really just gave me that number I needed to set the economy around, and it's a number that comes directly from the show. So I don't know, I quite like those types of tie-ins. And if you do something that's completely based off an IP or a thought or a world of your own, I would still do the same thing. I would try to think about what makes your world unique from other worlds like it, and what's gameable about that world. What would you take from that world and make into a game? And then you kind of pull that away, and you kind of look at the game, the thing that you want to game in that world, and you think about how can that world inform the rules of the game. So let's say we have a world of butterflies that play football, and the game is all about this kind of super brutal football that these butterflies play with each other. It's in the air, they fly around, and they can do stuff. Well, maybe in the butterfly football world, the football itself is not kicked, but rests between the butterfly wings. So then you kind of roll, you can use your wing to flap it up. So maybe as you turn, you can do a pass. And now you have a card for turning and passing to one of your team members. And another player might be able to intercept it by flying up, and so you start, thinking of how butterflies would play football, or maybe they do use their legs and they hold on to it and they kick it. And then, how would that play into a game, and how would you use that card for that, and that kind of thing. So you kind of have to rethink, not rethink, sorry, that's the wrong word. You kind of have to think through your own fluff and figure out how you see everything done. And then from there, you can come up with the rules for the game, and you can kind of define it. But yeah, it's a lot of fun to be had when it comes to creating games around strong themes. And that's kind of where I like to be. I like to take a strong theme and build a game around it. So like another board game I designed, Aliens, another glorious day in decor, which I did realize at that point that I have a tendency to make games with very long names. Doctor Who, Time of the Daleks, and Aliens, Another Glorious Day in the Core are both kind of mouthfuls to say. But when I worked on Aliens, I watched that movie. I mean, before I even sat down to even start designing, I watched the movie about 5 to 10 times, and then throughout I watched them another like 30 to 40 times just to kind of really get into the details of the characters. And I would watch a movie and just focus on one character and see what they would do, and I would fast forward the parts that they weren't in, and then start again and watch another character and see what they do. And then I read the books. The books gave me a lot of names for things that weren't listed in the movie. Like when they pick up a grenade, the book will tell you exactly what the name of that grenade was, because it'd be like, it doesn't say he picked up a grenade, it's like he picked up an M40, blah 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 blah, and it kind of goes through the detail of that. And so you can grab the names of things from the book. And so yeah, just finding different resources to use. There's a lot of really good resource books when it comes to TV shows and movies, especially things like Aliens or Doctor Who, that you can pick up as well. That'll help you with some of the more niche, nerdy things. But yeah, creating games from a strong theme is a very important thing for me. But that was a bit of a tangent. So let's go ahead and get back into working on some of these things here. So now I've created the locations. Let's go ahead and create a template for the dilemmas. What was the square size for that? Let's go ahead and do that. I need to go to, because I made it part of the parent page. Let's grab the square here. Look at its things. Weirdly, it transforms itself into something that was bigger than 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. This is what I wanted it to be. So it's going to be 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. Same thing with this one. I wonder why I did that. Okay, so that's better. And then this one, same thing. 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. And yeah, there we go. Okay. So let's go ahead and open a new document. And now that we know that the dilemmas are going to be 2.5 inches, we know exactly how big we need to make them. So let's go ahead and go to inches here. Let's do 2.5 and 2.5. And then we can create our guys here. And now a little cheat you can do is you can go here, grab your box, just paste it here, and it should be the right size for the border. Boom. Job done. And we know we're going to want circles to match up with these. So let's go ahead and do this. Control C and Control V. Have this go here. And I'm going to use a little cheat here. I'm just going to cut this whole thing out and go V here and see how this looks like it lines up. See, now it's quite too tall, so I'm just going to take this, this, and this, and group them. I'm going to take this and make that the anchor, and then set up there. So I have these now in the right spot. So now I can go this, Control C, and go here, delete, and go Control V. Nope. Paste in place. Nope, that didn't work either. Right, let's do this. Boom and boom. Oh, and I'm missing my black layer, so let's grab that black layer. Boom. Like so. And yeah, that's all lined up, ready to go. So now I have a dilemma that will line up with this, and then the other side because it will tessellate. There. Oh, yeah, I don't need this. I don't need this. Oh no. I just saw an issue. I don't know if you saw that. Is that this was not lined up there. It was lined up here, but not lined up there, which means that these are actually too short. Let's go ahead and fix that issue like that. And it should be able to go like this and go like that. And then let's delete this and paste this in. There we go. So now I know that this. Again, I accidentally opened it up with the wrong document presets. I don't want facing pages like that. I want it to be a line. So when I go through, it's all be there. Let's go ahead and make this be part of the parent. Let's add another parent, parent B, and let's paste in place. So we call this parent B. And yeah, each of these will have their borders. And then now I know where these go. Oops. They go there. So that's that. I'll add a text box down here. Actually, I'll add a box first. Like this. I'm going to want an image. It's a round card, so you're probably going to not have too much space for text. So let's put that there. Let's put a real text here. And possibly a name for it up here. I'm going to call these tiles because they're not cards. I see these as printed on cardboard tiles. So name of tile there. And let's go ahead and give it its own square thing like this. Control C. Oops. Actually, I can take this and go Control X because I'm going to want these on my parent pages, not here. So let's grab B and paste those in place. So, and let's see here. Why can't I see these on my other ones? Layers. Right, okay. And pages here. I see them there. So there must be a layer I'm not seeing here. Boom. And boom. There we go. I had the background stuff on there. So there we go. There is a basic tile the rule text down there. And Doctor Who, actually, this rule text is what happens when you fail. When you fail the test. So locations have what you get when you pass the test, so you know what the rewards are, but you never know what the fail thing is going to be. And because I don't want to have to go through and type that into all those, I'm just going to have that be the parent one. And then when I cut and paste, I have my up to 3 icons here. These I will ungroup, and I can delete and add them as I need them. But yeah, there is how I would have done the Doctor Who locations and dilemmas for playtesting if I had to do them again. Be nice squares that I cut out, and then all I would have to do is take a pair of scissors and cut off the corners here. But I might not even have to, because my dilemma's a square and these are square. I can just cut this out as a large square, and my dilemmas would just sit here and flip over. So there's actually no reason to cut that part out there. So all I would have to do is cut out the square. Makes it super easy, and would make it really easy for my playtesters to come in and playtest these now square locations. It might not give you the right aesthetic look for the final game, but it'll get you playtesters what they need to have to know to play the game, and it will be a lot easier for them to actually cut out and get started, which is again an issue with playtesting when they're not inside your office, because if you have to send them a copy for them to cut out and play, the more time it takes them to cut it out, the less likely they'll actually do it. The amount of times I sent playtest kits out to people and they just never got around to it because there's just too much work to do it is quite a lot, actually. Okay, I'm going to check up on the Twitch stream. We're going to kind of wrap up the game design aspect of today's show. I have chat open. I just want to make sure that the Twitch stream is going well on Twitch itself, and that it's not having technical issues, because I wouldn't know. So I'll let that load. But yeah, that is today's quick little video. Sorry if I went through that quite quickly. I'm going to go over probably all these things again in future videos, because in future videos I'm actually going to make some quick one-shot games. So I'll be doing things like creating cards and player boards and all the things that from start to finish that you'll need to play a game. But yeah. And yeah, I think that's probably a good place, actually. About 14 minutes early, but it's not too much traffic in chat right now, so I think this is probably a good place to call this video. Of course, it's 14 minutes early for me. Looking over at the video, they're still working on the dilemma tiles, so I'm still quite a bit ahead. So I'm going to figure out this lag, figure out why I am so far ahead, and see if I can fix that problem in the future videos, so we can do some more interaction. Alright, well, anyways, that will be all for now. Thank you for checking out the video, and I will check you in the next one. Bye-bye for now.